This is part one of a two-part episode Adam and I recorded not too long ago. This was our first in-person episode, so we had a good time. We had a couple cocktails, got a little loose. Enjoy. This is such a monumentous occasion, man. This is the first time that we have been in person recording this podcast since we started it, 6 months ago now?
Yeah, dude, it's been half a year. How about that?
This has been a fun journey. It's something we started during quarantine, for those that are new to the podcast here. And this is the first time that we've been together here in Las Vegas. Adam, you live in Los Angeles. And for the people who just found us, do you want to give us a quick elevator pitch on what the whole podcast is all about, besides, the two dudes just sitting here on a couch in the really awesome studio?
Yeah. What's interesting, too, about what we did with this was we really had a void in our life with the quarantine and all that kind of stuff. We don't get to hang out with people. We don't have the drive to work anymore. We don't get to hang out with the guys at work or any of that kind of thing, or grab a beer with a buddy after work. So really what we wanted to do was fill that void, was to be able to hang out, get some chit chat in, have a drink, and goof off with a buddy. So that's what started the Powerfall Project.
Yeah, that really speaks to what was missing in my life too. Just whether you're working out with somebody or you're, for lack of a better analogy here, standing at the water cooler, but just kind of that guy talk. Hey, did you watch a game this weekend? Or hey, you and the wife did this, and or hey, I went, did this awesome thing this last week. We just never had the opportunity during 2020 to do this kind of small talk, and the podcast really came together and allowed us to have that consistent hangout. And it's been fun, and that's kind of what we do. We get together every week, we hang out, we talk, and then what really kind of gives us a launch pad for the podcast is every single week we discuss a different top 5. And we'll get to it later, but this week's top 5 is kind of a nerd alert. This week we're doing the top 5 books that had impact in our life.
Yep.
Such famous episodes that are the heavy hitters are, our Dream Garage, top 5 Dream Garage. What other podcast stood out to you as being like epic top 5 lists?
I hate to admit it, but the questions from our wives was a big heavy hitter with a lot of listeners, and I think it's probably just because they listened and their friends listened and stuff. But I think that was a lot of fun too. So if you haven't checked that one out, for sure.
That was a fun one because we truly answered the questions on the fly. We didn't really prep for those, and that was fun. But yeah, man. So we're here in Las Vegas. One of the first things we need to address, obviously, is this epic studio that we're sitting in here.
Yeah.
This is the Casa de Jimmy and Danny.
Yep.
They're gracious enough to let us use their
palace.
Palace. Yeah, this is truly like the ultimate man cave / movie room / adult collectible room.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where you guys are staying when you come to visit Las Vegas. And
now I have to stop you for a second. So one of the reason why we did this podcast too was just like what you talked about with that camaraderie. But I did read an article, or what I really mean is I read a meme, and the meme said that it was basically listed as what's up with all these guys starting podcasts instead of going to therapy. And then the answer back to that is, well, what's up with all these ladies starting OnlyFans sites instead of getting jobs?
Wait, you don't have an OnlyFans?
Not yet.
Coming soon, the Powerfall OnlyFans.
Gross.
Is there any way to have negative followers? That might be the only thing that might get us negative followers.
Yeah, well, that's how we get unsubscribed. Not to be confused with Wait a second.
So, yeah, no, the podcast has definitely been therapeutic because, quite often we record these things on Monday, and quite often, we're dealing with all kinds of stress, nothing that's, any different from what you guys are listening to out there in the podcast listening land. The COVID stress, all the political craziness going on, all the uncertainty. And it's a lot of times we come into these podcasts in a certain type of mood. We're excited to podcast, but throughout the podcast, we've watched each other's mood develop and change, and by the time we finish and hit that stop button, I mean, we're feeling 1,000 times better. So it is therapeutic, man. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. It totally is. What are you sipping on today?
So today I've been craving a Moscow Mule. I've been watching you guys enjoy those the last couple of days. I've been DD the last couple of nights. We've been over here, frequenting the Casa de Jimmy and Danny, and tonight is my night to indulge in a Moscow Mule.
How very white chick of you.
Yeah, I love it. How about yourself there?
I am sipping. I have a special. Well, it's kind of melted a little bit, but I have a special ice cube tonight. It is the Death Star for your Star Wars fans out there. It's a little bit melted. Looks like the Rebellion already took care of it. And then I've got a nice 12-year-old Scotch poured over it. So that's what I got tonight.
Cheers to that. Yeah, the Death Star ice cube was pretty epic. It didn't last very long. Unfortunately, that Scotch went right to work on it, but
that's okay though. That's okay.
So you got to enjoy something today that you haven't had a chance to enjoy for a while. Being that you guys are locked down in California with a little bit different guidelines we have here, and you had access to a home gym. How was the workout today?
Oh, it was great. I say that. Quick answer was it was great. Long answer is, dude, out of shape. Doing a leg day when you're out of shape, when everything freaking hurts. I didn't have much on the bar, but it was a pretty epic workout. I know because I'm not going to be able to get up off this couch, and I'm really really scared about the time when I have to go to the bathroom, and I'm kind of limping around like an old man. So there's that.
Yeah, we didn't get a chance to work out together today, and I was kind of bummed. Not just for the workout, but I love hanging with you, and the gym is a fun place to get that guy camaraderie, and so I was kind of bummed on that. But a home gym is something we want to get into a house. My wife and I, we want to get into a house, whether we rent it or buy it in the next year. But I don't know if I'll set up a home gym. Now, it's convenient. It's obviously serves you great during the COVID times. I think my wife would probably use it more than I would. For me, especially being the fact that I worked in the gym for so long, I love going to the gym because you enter that building with a different mentality than if you just kind of walk into your garage. Now, not to say I didn't work out when we were completely locked down here in Vegas. I definitely did work out in our home garage with a kettlebell and a TRX, but that wasn't the same. But I love going to a physical building.
Yep.
The mentality. I mean, you played sports growing up. You know that mentality when you hit that locker room and you hit that weight room.
Yeah, it's going to work. It's time to let's leave our home. Let's get in the mindset. Let's jam out to some music, whatever that happens to be, and get in the mindset of like, okay, now I'm here. Let's not waste time. Let's not do horseplay around. It's get in and get to work, and then get out of there. And I love being in that environment, in the zone. I have a buddy that calls it like getting in. He's a golfer, and he's talking about it, getting in the slot where it's just in the groove, and you're just going. And I do love that about the gym. Now, granted, this situation is great because they have a big, beautiful house, 3-car garage, and just happens to be one of the bays is where they have their home gym, so that it has everything that I need. And that the fact that I haven't had a gym in 9 months is freaking perfect. But I get what you're saying. And this is great for the short term, but I don't know that I would do a home gym. I'm kind of with you.
Yeah, the gym, these people, they don't even know that they're helping me. But when I go to the gym, there's typically the same set of people there, the same revolving 20 to 30 people there, and I draw inspiration, I draw motivation from those people when I see them. They don't even know it, but I'm like watching. I'm like, okay, this guy over here, bandana guy, he's hitting legs again, man. This guy's crushing it. And then super chick over there is doing barbell snatches, and I could never do that because my shoulder's gonna blow out. But good for you, and I'm gonna put in effort here on my bicep curls.
Yeah, and with that though, I will be the negative Nancy on this side. But also, I don't need the Britneys and the Barbies up on the treadmills or watching themselves in the mirror, bouncing around the whole time. I don't necessarily need that. I also don't necessarily need the Bretts and the Chads and the Chets they're lugging around their bag full of proteins and whatever they're cycling through up in the look at me with the might as well be the string tank tops that are taking up all the room as well and all the weights. So I am a gym guy, but I want to go there when not everybody else is. So I'm a little bit different.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to Proto Gym here in Las Vegas. It's a single gym, single owner, not a franchise, and the owner's done a really good job. It's a good blend of, CrossFitters, bodybuilders. It definitely is comfortable enough for females to come in and work out too, because sometimes when you start mixing that stuff, it's kind of standoffish for females, but everyone's kind of got a mutual respect, and I really appreciate what he's got going on there, and that's why I continue to go there, I'm going to find a way to rent a house or get into a house that's close to that place, because I don't want to leave there, because it's such a cool environment. I love it.
Yeah, that's great. Having your gym, the one that you like, and having kind of a connection to it, and community, and building friends and all that stuff with it is vital. So that's good that you found that.
I'm slowly turning into my dad. I'm an introvert extrovert, meaning that there's a combination hybrid. I read a book that didn't actually make my list today, but I read a book a couple of years ago that talked about the hybrid of introvert extrovert, and it's talking about introverts who take jobs that are extroverted, and how that serves them on some level. But my dad has become social in his old age, meaning that he talks to everybody now, almost to the point where it's embarrassing. And so, like, especially during lockdown, when I wasn't getting the social interaction that I normally would, I would be at the gym and be like just trying to catch eye contact with someone, so I can get like a moment. Hey, bro, good deadlift.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I was fiending for it. And Janie even called me out. My wife even called me out on it a few times. She's like, "Well, you're really the social bee now." I'm like, I'm really not. I guess I'm not. I don't have any bro time or any social interaction besides you, which is
it's lacking too. I mean, and I told you that a couple of podcasts ago too. I was trying to meet the new neighbor, and I didn't know how to talk to another human being. I just didn't have the social skills that I used to. I was like, "You're talking to me, but we have masks on. I don't know how to do this. This is weird." I'm like, "Oh crap! Now we're gonna take an elevator down. That's gonna be even more awkward." And I'm usually the social butterfly that's like, let's get to level 5 when I know you for 15 minutes. It's just. Yeah, it's a weird thing, man.
Don't get me started on new neighbors. So we got some new neighbors about 2 months ago. I happened to catch them while they're moving in, and me being the new social butterfly, I talked to both of them. The girlfriend was kind of standoffish, kind of just disappeared, kind of like she smelled something bad, just kind of whatever.
You have that look though.
The guy was super talkative. He was friendly. The awkward thing is I've been trying to run into them again. I haven't seen them in 2 months, but I've definitely heard them. Don't get my wife fired up about that. She's heard them too. We've all heard them at 4 a.m, 2 a.m. They run different hours than us, and we share a bedroom wall with them. Now, we live in...
What kind of noises are we hearing?
Well, hold on. We live in nice luxury apartments, but they put all the money into the finishing. They put no money into the insulation. So...
you got cardboard walls.
We're hearing everything. We hear... her chewing him out for looking at hoes on Instagram.
Dude, can't
word for word at 4 a.m. What the hell is this? And I'm like, oh boy, here we go again. And then we hear them getting busy, 20 minutes later when they make up, so it's driving my wife crazy. And I've been trying to run into them. I haven't had a chance to run into them. They run such weird hours. I don't know what they do for a living, but we go to bed around 10 or 11.
Yeah.
I'm up by 6:37. My wife's up by 8 or so. But they often will come home at 3 a.m. And then do something. Then we hear them up again at 10. I don't know what it is. It's Vegas, so you never know what's going on, really.
Yeah. Now, can you beatbox with the sound of their headboard? Or
it's an impressive rhythm. I'll give him that. It's a good rhythm. I'll give him that. My wife absolutely hates it.
It's not her style of rhythm.
Well, I've lived in enough apartment complexes where I'm kind of used to it. In her going to Oregon State, I figured she would be kind of used to that, and living in the dorms, I figured she'd be kind of used to that, but she's not. She drives her nuts every time she hears that nocturnal cardio, we call it. I'm not mad at I'm whatever. Do your thing.
Do your thing.
It's our bad for renting an apartment that has paper thin walls. That's something they didn't disclose, and something we didn't know when we moved in there. But whatever.
Yeah. I mean. Yeah,
but I've been. The point of the story was I was trying to run into him. I haven't run into him since then to say, hey, hey, just so you know, we can hear everything. You can hear everything of us. So just as long as we get that mutual understanding, if I tap on the wall, I'm not pissed. I'm just saying, letting you know.
Right, exactly. It's not like I'm putting a broom through the wall.
Yet another reason to eventually move into a house. But
Yeah.
we used to live in a complex. I used to live in a complex in Bellevue, Washington, that was similar to yours. You have a view into Los Angeles, but you also have a view into some neighbors, and you're kind of in like a echo chamber there.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I was in a tighter echo chamber, and quite often we'd hear everything in there, and people would yell out the window, "Hey, we can hear you! Stop it! Shut up!" And I'd yell back, "Let him finish!" Just to have fun, because I was a single guy at the time. I'm like, "Let him finish!"
I love it. It's awesome.
But yeah, welcome to the Powerfall Project.
This is the Powerfall Project.
So, for the listeners, again, this is the first time that we're in person podcasting, and quite often we're recording our home setup or home office.
Yep.
We've got the computer in front of us. We're recording. The way we record this, we really can't see each other until we put the final product together, where we're each recording ourselves separately.
Yep.
So this is the first time that we're actually close enough to touch microphones.
Oh,
it's getting weird.
Crossing the streams.
So,
how do you feel about this?
I love it.
I think this is more difficult because we've never done it before, but this is so much better.
It is better. It's I'm used to looking at my notes. I'm used to checking the screen, checking the recording. I'm used to having other stuff to occupy my eyes with.
Yeah.
Because when I'm in person, it took me, when I was younger, I didn't look at people in the eye, and I went through a public speaking course where they coached us, obviously, to look at people in the eye. So for the podcast, it's a combination, I guess, really, because I'm trying to check my notes, check the audio, but I'm also trying to check back in with you and lock eyes and have moments with you.
Oh, that's awesome.
But
I tell you, man, I'm just so distracted to the fact that I'm wearing skin tight jeans after doing a leg day today that I haven't really been thinking about the podcast at all. I'm just trying not to cry out in old man pain.
a good leg day will do that to you, and I don't know about you, man, but legs are my hands. Yeah, I'm the opposite. I give me any option, I'll do legs every day.
Dude, I actually when I'm doing them, absolutely. I look forward to it. I like it. Today is right.
So aside from working out, you've been here in Vegas for a couple of days now. Aside from working out and eating epic food that Jimmy and Danny have prepped for us.
Oh yeah.
What else has been going on since the last time we talked?
So, I've been let's see here. I've been shaving my head for probably 2 years now, and I have not had someone else do it. I have always buzzed myself, and then sometimes I've gotten a shave every once in a while, but we had to get out of LA so that we could get some things done. So I got a massage for Diana, so she got a 90-minute massage.
Tight move.
Oh yeah, she absolutely loved that. And then earlier in the day before that, I got myself a head shave, and they lined up the beard and all that kind of stuff. My guy Carlos,
you were looking extra sharp. I was going to say you were looking extra sharp.
It felt good. It feels good. It was great. So that was something that I haven't had, that kind of treatment, I guess.
Yeah, no.
Guys
like to get pampered.
Year, dude.
Yeah, guys like to get pampered a little bit too. It's all right.
So that was cool. And then we made some good food. I played some video games. I don't know the last time I played video games. I got to play some video games
for sure. So yeah, Jimmy and Danny have quite the setup here. They have arcade setups.
Yeah, and actually, Danny just got one delivered right before our arrival. So we put that together the other night, and so we've got 2 full-sized arcade games that we're playing. We're having a good time, watching movies, eating good food, goofing off, laughing. We drove around, just getting our bearings of the Las Vegas area, trying to convince Diana that maybe we should get a second home over here, something like that. So yeah, it's just been a fun trip. So,
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
The home haircuts is something that we started during quarantine, because I had no option. I actually grew my hair out for an entire month, hair and beard. Mm-hmm. And then my beard never really fills in like yours. I got beard envy for sure.
Sure.
I get the patchy homeless look even after a month of growth.
Yep.
And so I actually met one of my main clients during that time, and we were both joking about it a couple of days ago. He's like, I don't know how the hell I hired you because you look like a straight up bum. But so after about a month of doing that, nothing was opening back up. This was like April or May, right when we were in the heat of it.
Yeah.
Jane offered to cut my hair, and at that point I was like, screw it, because my haircut is high and tight on one side,
Yep.
a little bit fade on the other side. So it's when it grows out, it looks like I'm wearing a helmet, like a mushroom head.
And
so Jane did a damn good job. I'm not gonna lie, she did a darn good job. And this might be an overshare, but it definitely helped having my hairstylist be topless when she was cutting my hair. So that was an awesome.
Did you have something to look at?
I had a mirror right in front of me, so I was living the good life, getting a haircut. Now she has since not wanted to give that up.
Oh,
and so I've been getting home haircuts now since April, May.
Okay.
And personally, I don't mind paying the $12, $15 for a simple hair. I'm pretty cheap on haircuts,
for sure.
I went through a time in my life where I was spending $35, $38 on a haircut.
Yeah, they give you a little massage, little wash.
Honestly, I can't. I was Bellevue prices. I can't tell the difference between a
Never mind.
Yeah. I do have a funny story about a Vietnamese haircut / are you trying to take me to bed?
Oh yeah.
But that we'll save that for another podcast. I went into a new barbershop one point, and I got a little extra service than I was expecting. But anyways, so
That's good value.
Good value. Very good value.
It's good value.
I wasn't I've been getting home haircuts, and I do miss getting pampered. It's fun being pampered by my wife, but it is kind of fun going somewhere and kicking back. And the haircut's really about the only thing I routinely get pampered on. I've tagged along with Jane to get, manicures, pedicures every now and then to be the good husband. And that's an enjoyable, ticklish, but enjoyable,
Dude, I love a pedicure. Got these old athlete's feet. You gotta get it scraped off. So yeah, man.
Yeah, I do too. I often will get a ticklish foot though, which is rare for me because I'm usually a serial killer. I can turn off that ticklish thing, but I almost kicked the lady one time because I was like, I freaked out on her.
Yeah.
But the home haircut, it's been something we've been doing, and but I'm with you. I like getting pampered, man. You look sharp.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
It was just cool to be doing something that wasn't lockdown.
Bro,
it's just tough right now.
It makes you feel normal. The first time you go out to a restaurant here, and
we did that too.
Yes.
Oh gosh, dude.
Yes.
Yeah, which brings up a couple. Okay, so I got a question. Now, you're not necessarily a medical professional. And neither am I.
I play one on the internet, but yes.
Right. And, okay.
I did grow up listening to Loveline, so I got some credentials.
Yeah, and you know what? I follow Dr. Drew. I love his IG lives right now, especially since he caught COVID and he can talk specifically about it. But my point, I guess, what I want to ask is, and I don't want to be a naysayer because obviously this thing is for real and it's a lot of people are struggling with this, right? I mean, like Dr. Drew says, don't be afraid of this thing. At the same time, it's very real, and if you have it, you need to take good care of yourself because it's going to put you on your ass. But the question I have is, since we're not opening up the world, everything is locked down except for big box stores and grocery stores. So is it just an overwhelming amount of people that work at grocery stores and people that work at Target and Costco and Best Buy that are like flooding the ERs? Are those the essential workers? Are those the ones that are getting sick? If not, then maybe we can open.
Oh my God, you're gonna be fired up here about this because I've never felt more unsafe going into our local Smiths. I'm gonna call them out, whatever, because it's a tight store as it is. We've been going to Albertsons, which isn't my favorite store either, but at least it's spread out a little bit. But that's an essential store. But there was packed. You're bumping shoulders with people, and I'm like. And meanwhile, the little specialty store down the street is closed because they're not quote unquote essential, but that's where I sometimes get some of my minor stuff there. And and those little tiny stores, whether it be a hair salon or anything, I mean, there's more social distance going on there than there are at the big box stores, which drives me nuts. I think if we had to do it over again, I think it would have been smart to quarantine the high risk people.
Yep.
Because you're not getting major outbreaks at places where super healthy people are at. Gyms have been proven not to be a hotspot.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's the point. And if we're worried about, well, if we open everything else, then nobody's going to follow these rules. It's like, wait a second. Let's allow everybody to be open, but let's just follow the same rules. Let's all just have the masks. Let's all just do the social distancing, but let's let everybody be open and just do the things that you're supposed to do. Everybody wash your hands. I mean, it's like when Rogan had the Yale infectious disease guy on,
right.
He was talking about the Swiss cheese defense, and you lay down enough layers of protection that have holes in them, and you will get full protection if we do those things correctly. So it's not necessarily closing every single thing and all the schools and all this stuff. If we just have some baseline protections and then everybody follows it, we'll be okay. But I mean, we are the land of the free, and we're also the land of the you can't tell me what to do and all this kind of stuff too. So I get the other side of it as well. So obviously, when we're not going to solve this, it's a frustration point for me.
Yeah, it frustrates me the amount of people that are losing not their ass, but losing their life on their family restaurant or their family business, because they've been shut down for 6 months, and they're not getting any breaks from the landlord, they're not getting any breaks from the government on rent and tax and whatever. That irritates me. That should be an individual choice for them, I think, to open up and maintain. But then my heart goes out to individual people. I'm never going to fault someone for taking the precautions that they think there is right for their individual situation. So I try to be respectful, especially, since my business revolves around going into small businesses. I'm always going to wear my mask. I'm always going to practice social distancing in what we do. And I'm never going to fault someone if they are doing more precautious stuff than I am. Because
absolutely,
again, like you said, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor, but I've got a pretty firm set of beliefs on what's going on here. My biggest thing, I can't wait in 2 to 3 years to watch all the documentaries that came out from about 2020.
Absolutely,
dude.
Now I do have some silver lining. Okay, so we talked a couple of episodes ago about just what have you learned from this, or some of the good things, or the positivity, some of that stuff. So one of the things that I really like about this whole thing is that it has. And as much as we all hate the Zoom calls and the this and that and stuff, but it has really rapidly made us all change to be able to do things from home and make things not so essential that you go to the office.
Yes.
Not so essential that we all congregate to really, really populated places, which if we take this a couple steps further, right? We spread out our network. We actually spread out all of our population of our country to a little bit more evenly distributed. We might do a little bit better with resources. We might do a little bit better. And yeah, I understand fiber optics and driving cars and all that kind of stuff. But if we can spread it all out a little bit and take advantage of some people living in Wyoming, and maybe you don't need to be on 100 acres, but maybe you could be on 3 acres. And if every person is a little bit away from each other, then we don't get viruses. But at the same time, we can also have Wi-Fi, and we can also congregate at places safely and all this kind of stuff. So I don't necessarily think there's a bad thing for all of us learning how that we can spread out a little bit.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, because the work from home thing is been a model that everyone's been trying to propose for a long time. If someone works at home and they're 80-90% as effective as they are in the office, like, do we need that office? And from where I used to live in Kirkland, apparently Google hasn't moved into their new facility just because there's no one to move into the facility. Everyone's working from home right now.
Right.
And so it's kind of an interesting experiment to see how efficient people are working from home. And again, that'll cut overhead astronomically,
or let other opportunities fill those spaces too. I mean,
Yeah.
whatever they happen to be, and we have clearly a significant need to take care of homeless. We have a significant need to take care of people that have underlying health conditions. Maybe we can help some people with, more health related things. There's lots of opportunity that you can use space for, and that's the coolest thing about innovation, is that they solve problems. So I like the idea of investing in us, in our world, in our problem solving ability, not necessarily fighting for old times. So anyway,
yeah, it definitely has shook us up across a bunch of different paths there, and it forced change that probably wouldn't have happened if we didn't have some kind of earth-shattering, trauma like this. But yeah, the remote working, the efficiency, kind of ties into a couple of my books that we're going to talk about today.
Oh yeah, was that a segue?
Well, segue alert.
But before we get there, that was a great segue, but I'm going to deny it. I'm going to deny it. Okay.
Segue blocked.
Yeah, segue blocked. No, I'm just kidding. No, I had a couple things that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah,
if that's all right with you.
Oh, 100%.
One was a gripe. I like my gripes.
This is a safe space.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I'm doing the social media now these days, doing more of it. I'm on the interwebs on my phone doing the social media stuff.
And you're doing quite the good job, if I don't mind.
Well, I appreciate
that. Back there.
I'm learning. This is not the easiest game, but it's a fucking game. And it's annoying.
Consistency is key, which I am not.
So one of the things that I've figured out, right? So I watch videos. I try to learn more about it. That's what's cool about YouTube, right? You can learn about different social media aspects and who's doing things right. And then it's the cheese is ever moving, because this thing is a maze. The algorithms change and all this kind of stuff. You have to keep learning all this stuff. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Damn, I love cheese.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Gouda. Nobody cares about that part. But they care about the cheese part. They don't care about my griping. What I have a complaint about, and you can tell me if this is an issue. So one of the things that you can do is use hashtags. Okay, so you do the pound sign, and it categorizes towards a common thing, right? Understood? Everybody's there. Okay, cool. Well, I just learned this a year ago, so anyway. But I will search like people I want to follow or people that I want to invite to the podcast or things like this, and I search using hashtags. And for an example, like hashtag podcast or hashtag stand-up comedy, or so if I want to follow something that I think is funny, a stand-up comedy or whatever like this, right? And I'll click on the hashtag stand-up comedy, and it'll be some dude who's speaking in a different language, and I'm like, no, you'd use hashtag stand-up comedy in that language. Because if you use hashtag stand-up comedy and you use it in English, one would assume that it is English. Am I being an old curmudgeon?
No.
Okay.
No, because I run into that all the time too. Because you can actually on Instagram you can follow hashtags. I do follow a handful of hashtags, and it always drives me nuts when people are from different cities using hashtag Las Vegas business or Las Vegas model. We try to connect with people here in Vegas.
Yep.
And I look at their profile, I'm like, you're from Massachusetts,
right?
You can't use hashtag Las Vegas if you maybe visited, but I don't know. But yeah, it muddies the water quite a bit.
Right. And I'm like, oh, cool. Oh, this guy, he's got a bunch of likes. He's got a bunch of this. Cool. Let me click on it. Oh, the dude's speaking Bulgarian in stand-up comedy. Like, yeah. So use that hashtag. Like, I think that there should be a little bit of etiquette. No?
There needs to be some hashtag police.
Seriously. I'm about to Karen this motherfucker.
So you follow hashtags?
No.
I follow a handful just relevant to Las Vegas and our business, but that's about it, really.
Yeah, that's what I do. I use some of the hashtags that I use in some of our posts. I want to see what also is going on in those, and so I do. But like on my personal one, I do some of like the I think they're like cabin porn.
Oh yeah.
So I know that sounds way more seductive than
you can insert any word porn, right. Food porn,
But it's
cabin
basically
porn,
just
car porn, whatever. Yeah,
looking pictures of cabins
Porn.
out in the wood.
yes. Now,
Yeah.
yeah, you can literally insert any word. It is fun though when you start searching hashtags. There's literally someone, even if it's only one person in the world, but there's someone who's already done whatever hashtag you can think of.
Yep.
As weird as it is and absurd and as lengthy as it is, someone's already done that hashtag.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, that's one little gripe. But as far as gripes go, I mean that's
Fairly moderate for a
podcasts.
Monday here, yeah.
Usually I'm full of gripes, but that's the only gripe I have. I have a really, I have to highlight this incredible young lady. I do. I have to highlight this incredible young lady. So I'm gonna segue to another thing that I got to bring up. Well, she obviously is incredible, but that's not this part. Thanks for that. This I have to tell you about my new pen pal. Did you have a pen pal?
Are you doing prison pen pal?
No.
Okay.
But when you're familiar,
Yes.
You did you do the pen pal program in like elementary school or something like that?
Our elementary school, they had us write letters to soldiers. Now it was a one-way thing.
That's cool.
It was cool, but it was a one-way thing, so we never got anything back. It was thank you for your service. This was during like Kuwait.
Oh yeah. Desert Storm.
Desert Storm. Yeah.
So I remember I was part of the pen pal program. I want to say in like 3rd or 4th grade, and I had their school. It was in New York. Their school wrote, or each kid got assigned another kid. They're from New York. They sent me a letter. I read it, and
so it was within the U.S. though.
Correct.
Okay, cool.
Correct.
That's cool.
Inside the U.S. And then I'd read it, and then I wrote it. And this will segue into the thing about books. But I have dyslexia, so I struggle with reading and writing, and always did. I've gotten considerably better, but I struggled with it. But I remember reading it, having a tough time with it, not enjoying writing it, and being really difficult. And I think these are one of those programs that kind of are meant to excite you, get excited about this, and try to do this versus just reading some book.
No, I really embrace and praise teachers that use unorthodox methods, and I'll talk about that too later.
Yes.
In the books list, because the conventional standard reading list we had to go through is dog crap.
Absolutely.
But, so anytime you can break the norm, like you're saying, and do something different, yeah.
Agreed.
Continue
and
on.
I remember at that time I didn't really grasp onto it. I thought it was dumb. I didn't really like it. The kid I didn't resonate with. He had said a couple of things, and I was like, okay, cool. Now it's just another assignment,
I like sports. You like sports. Yeah.
I didn't really grab onto it, and that's more on me than anything else. I probably had a great teacher and all that kind of stuff, but what I am sharing today is that I have a special pen pal, and my boy Cole's daughter, out of nowhere.
Oh, you gotta bring the tears,
dude! Out of nowhere, she's and I'm Auntie Adam, because all she has. When she was really, really little, all she had in her life were sisters and girls and women, and everybody was an auntie. And I was the only guy in her life. And so I was Auntie Adam. And so I will always be Auntie Adam. And so it's just incredible and awesome. And it's just beaming with pride. But out of nowhere, I get a text from her mom, and she's like, I need your address. And so I'm like, okay, cool. So I send the address because Bella wants to see.
You're thinking
something.
late Christmas card. You're thinking,
right. And then Cole takes a picture of this, and he's like, hey, I had no idea but I was heading to the post office because I had to pick something up, and Bella threw something in my pocket, and it's a picture, and he took a picture of it, and it was a letter that she wrote. He's like, I had no idea. She just handed it to me and said, hey, put this in the mail, and it was a letter to me. And so it's to Auntie Adam and Auntie Diana. And so she wrote a letter to me. So as soon as I possibly could, I wrote one right back. She drew me some pictures. And so I wrote as fast as I could and get her something back to her and sent it on to her. And I texted her mom, and I said, as long as she wants to do this, I will continue doing this.
Oh,
I don't
my
care
goodness.
if it's forever.
How old is she again?
She is
ballpark
8.
Okay, I'm terrible with kids' age. Yeah, I have no idea.
I believe she just turned 8 in the fall.
Oh, dude. Okay, first off, how sweet.
Oh my gosh,
Just gut-wrenching happiness. Yeah, anyways, second of all, going to the post office is a very rural thing, and I'm guessing. Yep, this is the Cole, obviously living in Leavenworth,
out in the country, living the dream. But whatever.
Yeah. Going to the post office is part of the routine that people used to do 100 years ago.
Yeah, man.
I got to go to the post office, mail this letter.
I love it. So
very nostalgic. I love that.
Yeah. So he, So I mean, it was a couple weeks ago, obviously. And so I mean, he was doing some picking up packages, dropping off packages, doing whatever he's doing. But so that was one thing. So and I'm not done bragging about Lil Bella. So the next thing, and I don't think I talked about this on the podcast, but I did. If I didn't and I neglected to, I should have. But during the early stages of the pandemic, things we were all still trying to figure out how we were doing all this kind of stuff, and didn't know if it was going to just be 2 weeks and then we're over it, and then maybe it's a month, and then we'll be done. Once it's in the summertime, whatever, all that stuff that we all thought. Well, my boy Cole had a job interview. And living in the rural community, doing things virtual, phone interviews, things like that, not really done. Especially when my boy climbs trees for a living. I mean, he's the living, breathing badass. I mean, he's up 100 feet up in trees, clearing stuff. He had an offspring try to take him out one day. I mean, he's doing
man stuff, man. I feel his testosterone through the.
Is a very good assessment. So, and meanwhile, we're sitting here in tight jeans. But my boy had an interview, and it was going to be a phone interview. And they're an open family. They talk. They're doing their thing at the kitchen table, having dinner and whatnot. And Cole talks. He's very transparent with his daughter. Talks about current situations and what's going on in the environment and all that kind of stuff, and about how he has to do this job interview. And he's as a natural person, a little bit nervous about the idea of having to do this interview. And it's big time job, big time interview. He's punching above his weight level on this one, which is fucking awesome. I love when people do
swing for the fences. Why not?
Swinging for the fences.
You don't know unless you don't try.
That's right.
How we both got married.
That's right. And so he's talking about how this interview that he has to do in the morning or whatever, and then he's talking about it with his daughter. Well, the next morning of the interview, Bella, the daughter, asks Cole's dad, and asked, "Well, what are the names of the interviewers?"
Odd question, but
he's okay. Yeah,
very.
And just for sake of, I don't know.
I'll play.
It was a Tiffany, Jason, and Seymour, whatever. Who cares what the names were? And about 5-10 minutes before the interview is going to start, she walks in with a picture that she drew of the three of them with the names above, so that he could tape it on the wall and visualize talking to them. Yeah, dude.
Buddy.
Are you kidding me? Like, importance of visualization, all this stuff. Because she just listened to her dad talk about being nervous because he wasn't going to be able to see the people in the interview, because this was a phone interview, and phone interviews you can't see their reactions, you can't see the interactions, you can't see them. And so she drew him a picture so that he could see them.
So, first off, how cute is that, obviously? But second of all, props to him for creating a space where they're comfortable talking about their feelings in that manner.
Yep.
Because, I mean, we were just raised different. I don't remember anything about talking about feelings or being nervous or being brought into adult situations like that. I think that's missed quite a bit. People treat kids like kids too much.
Yep.
Kids are going to be kids on their own, but I see the best kids. We've got some friends here in Vegas that have phenomenal kids, prodigy kids, and they're basically young adults. They're very much kids, but bringing them into adult situations, because they're picking up on it anyways. They're noticing dad's acting a little funny in the morning anyway, so you might as well tell them what's up.
Yep.
And I think that would just help better prep them for real life anyways. So dude, props, very cool. Props to her, and props to Cole for having that kind of environment in their house. So
no doubt.
Yeah.
And then the third thing, like I can't stop gushing about this young child. Lady. Yeah, she's just an incredible young lady. So I have my company, Gym Rats, that I put together over the pandemic, and fitness apparel. Well, she caught wind that Auntie Adam has a company, and she was like, "Well, what is it?" Okay, oh, interesting. Okay, cool. And so she drew me a picture. And Cole sent it to me. It was just on a piece of paper that he took a picture of it and then sent it to me. And I said, okay, we'll check this out. Let's I asked him, can she draw digitally? Is there a way that you guys can have her draw on the computer? And he was like, yeah, absolutely. She loves doing that. I'm like, okay, have her draw me 3 pictures, and I'll put it on a shirt. And he was like, okay, no, this is great. So she drew me these 3 pictures, and I picked one and I threw one on a shirt, and you can actually buy it on the website. But I sent it to her, and then I made one for an adult size as well. And so I sent her kids one and me an adult one, and we got them at the same time. And then I was able to take a picture of me in the shirt that she drew that made it to a t-shirt that you can buy online, and she got one. And then, anyway, she was super excited. She sent me a great thank you video and all that kind of stuff. But he videotaped her opening it, and it was just it's incredible. So this young lady is gonna be somebody and gonna do some things. So
is it safe to say you're the favorite auntie?
I'm definitely the favorite Auntie Adam.
I think I want to. I go out on a limb and say you're probably the favorite auntie at this point. But no, what a cool thing. Having a daughter and then having multiple male role models in her life is key. And props to you for that. Now, I also have auntie status.
Oh yeah,
newly crowned auntie status.
Oh yeah.
Our good friends that also the same month that we moved down to Vegas, they also bought a rental property here in Vegas.
Okay.
And they have 2 little kids, and they came down and visited us, and I kind of got the daughter in trouble a little bit because she was joking around, and she was calling me Jane, and so I was like, oh yeah, I was calling her brother's name and just kind of joking around, mixing up names.
Yeah.
So she's like, okay, Auntie Nick. She started calling me Auntie Nick, and then when we came down to dinner, she called me Auntie Nick, and unbeknownst to the parents, they didn't know what was going on, so they got upset with her, like, that's disrespectful. They have run a really proper house, and it's a really proper structure, and so they're like, that's disrespectful. You need to call Nick what his name is. And she's like, no, that's Auntie Nick. And I'm like, and so I called her by her brother's name and threw more gas on the fire.
Oh,
so
nice.
Yeah, so I'm really mature.
Yeah, you are.
Another element to why we're waiting on kids right now.
No, but that we'll all get over it. Right?
It's really fun. I can see you're doing the same thing. I'm embracing being an auntie uncle right now.
Yeah,
I really am, and I am so stoked. It's already public news. I'm gonna say it here too. My younger brother and his wife, have just recently announced their second.
Oh dang!
And dude, I am pumped. They're having a daughter. So they have a boy, and now they're having a daughter.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations to them,
Auntie and Uncle Nick.
That's right. That's right. I love it.
So my thoughts are, we're kicking off this first in-person podcast right now. I think we need to take a quick sponsor break.
Okay.
Pay the bills.
Yep.
Hit the bathroom.
Yep.
Hit a refill.
Let's do it.
Cool.
I'm on it.
Be right back.